out tonight, can't you come out tonight? Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight?
Welcome to Record-ology.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Okay, it's been way too long since we went antiquing, or I should say that I filmed a show about antiquing, because I've been a few times. That's how we get the good stuff. So thanks to your investments in the show, by the Buy Me a Coffee service, the Super Chats, the merchandise buys, all that kind of stuff, we have a little cash to flash, so we're going to go get some cool things for the show. So come with me. Let's see what we can find. Let me preface this by saying we're going to use still photos for a lot of the content in the store, just so we can kind of speed up the process, because filming video in there can take a long time. I'm going to show you some really cool stuff, and then we'll come back and see what I got at the end. So here we go. I found a lot of electronic devices, a lot of vintage and retro electronics, and I took some pictures of the most interesting things to share with you. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of some of these things, if you would have grabbed it. I wasn't really looking for electronics as much today, so I didn't pay attention to price tags on this stuff, so I can't tell you if it was a good deal or not. But I just love the variety of designs in electronics from, the 1940s or 30s and on up, just how everything is so unique, how they do every single product in a very different way. Even if it's just a radio, every one of them, like from this to this, is such a completely different design. And the design element has been a part of electronics for some time. So when people talk about the visual aesthetic of a Victrola or Crosley or a Studebaker design product today, and they say, well, that's not really that important, I would remind you of these products where the design was a major element of it. This Zenith radio is gorgeous. It's a piece of furniture in addition to just being a functioning radio, and boy, was it gorgeous. Exposed on the back, you could see all of the tubes and everything, just absolutely beautiful finish. This was a huge surprise. I came across a box of cylinder phonograph records. I have never seen these in person before, wax cylinder records. Still, the idea of a cylindrical record is an amazing thing. From a technical perspective, it's kind of genius because the groove is non-concentric. It doesn't spiral, so there's no left to right pressure on one groove wall or the other. And I did pick one up to hold it. I didn't buy this. Maybe I should have bought one as like a cool thing to have on the desk, but mold, and you can see some mold on the inside and on the outside there as well. It's just not something that's very well suited to an asthmatic such as myself or my son. So, we decided to kind of pass on this for today, but they are cool. This is a blue Amberola. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And now back to another really, really cool radio. Every one of them a fascinating design piece, in addition to, hopefully being a functioning radio. Now, that is another point, too, is that when you're investing in equipment of this era, you need to assume that in addition to the price tag, you're going to be making an investment of time and more money to get it working, whether it's new tubes, capacitors, belts in the case of tape players and whatnot. So it can be a tricky thing. Even a basic AM radio is going to oftentimes require an investment on the internals. It's a rare thing to find something that's just completely working inside and out, right off the bat like that. So pretty cool stuff. Here's an interesting combination phonograph with external speakers. I didn't open it up. I just took a picture of it from a distance. This is not unlike a record player my dad had as a kid, although his was more like the first one we looked at, where the turntable like rotates down, and but cool again just to see so many different designs. So this one isn't one of the ones we picked, but I wanted to show you this because it's got a really interesting steel, I assume it's steel, maybe it's aluminum, adapter in the middle of the record. I think that's really crazy and cool. Beautiful yellow RCA Victor, harkening back to that era when they were doing different colors for different genres of music. Here's another one coming up right here. This was on the Cricket record label. This is the Ballad of Davy Crockett. This was, I believe, a 10-inch record. Again, a gorgeous, gorgeous record. So which ones did we buy? What did we keep? And you're going to find that out just in a minute here. But before they do that, one more really cool looking device. This is a combination phonograph and radio. Again, from a design standpoint, very unique. It's like they reinvented the entire idea every time they came up with a new product, which I think is a really cool thing. And as we were on the way out, I saw one more thing, and it was a little package, new old stock of these metal record inserts, as it says right there, 45 RPM record adapters, which, judging by the previous record, that yellow one that had one in it already, it was pretty hefty. Okay, we have one more picture, actually. So one more picture. This was an interesting device. It was a radio, and on top of it, we have a clock. I initially thought it was the same device, which is kind of weird because they're completely different styling aesthetics. But as I was editing this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a separate thing sitting on top of there. But an interesting thing anyway. So what did we get? Okay, the first thing is this really cool, very 70s looking read in here book and record set. And what attracted me to this was the fact that it is a book and record that is 12 inches instead of the small 7-inch 45s. Now, all of these we're going to do, complete shows on in the future. So I don't want to spend too much time on each record, but I did want to kind of give you a cursory overview of everything. This is awesome. I think I had this as a kid. You got to love a Disneyland record, especially a Christmas one. Great artwork on this as well. Both of these have plastic sleeves, and this will be a lot of fun. So we'll definitely take a closer look at this in the future. The next thing is actually not a record. It's a tape. 8-track. Somebody's asking about 8-tracks lately. $5 for an 8-track. If it's playable, I think that's probably the high end of what is a reasonable price. This is the famous Elvis Madison Square Garden concert, and a really, really cool record, or a really cool album. I love this album. It's fantastic, especially the new remastered versions. It's absolutely probably the best, one of the best recordings of Elvis, I think, around. I think this concert is better than the famous Live from Hawaii concert. It's absolutely fantastic. My dad, I was actually showing this to him today, and he's like, that's literally one of the tapes I had. Because if you remember, my dad had a 8-track player in his car, his 1967 Camaro, but that was the only time he ever really had 8-tracks, and this is one of the few tapes that he had. So I found that out after I purchased this. So the pad looks like this actually is RCA, so it's got the spring-mounted pads in there, plastic pinch roller. Hopefully it's in usable condition. Next thing is kind of a worse for wear Beatles tape. This is interesting because it has the 8-track cartridge, 3 3/4 inches per second, with a little bit different graphics there. It's it's water damaged, or it's a lot of the glue has deteriorated under these. It's definitely worse for wear. The reason why I picked this one, they had a bunch of these from this series, and the pad on this had some sponginess to it, so I felt like there was some life left in this tape. Next thing is this really cool set. Now, what's interesting about this, besides this guy being there, is the fact that I have this on 78s. So to find it in this form, and it has the original inserts, these are non-EP 45s. I just thought that this was something that we needed to have. So that's exciting. And again, I think this was, a good price. I always want to make sure that it's not just a good record or a good, interesting thing, but the price is good. I think this was like $6. So we got some really cool records to look at here. Peter Pan records. I love the graphics. Some tape on there. None of these are cleaned or anything yet. I need to clean all of this stuff. This is awesome. This is a little golden record with Casper, the friendly ghost. Kind of looks a little bit like Caillou, which is slightly terrifying there. And again, full reviews coming in the future on this stuff. I just wanted to kind of show you a haul video of what we picked up. Another golden record. This one's really interesting. Santa Claus is coming to town. Part of the label's ripped off. Completely ripped off on the back. So be interesting to see what we got there. A couple more things. Captain Hook. Elegant Captain Hook. One more. Love the label on this. The graphics. So cool. Ironically, it doesn't look like a Christmas record, but it's got the Christmas label on that side. Interesting. Look at the name on here. Cliff Edwards. Oh, Dick Edwards. I thought it was like Cliff Edwards, which I think was the voice of Jiminy Cricket, but I'm not 100% sure. So here is the haul. I think we did pretty good. All of this was about $55-ish, which taken in totality, I think was a good investment. Definitely will be some good content for us. We'll have to check it out. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.